Hello, hello to all of you out there, astrology friends. I'm a hug person, so I wish again that I could give you the warmest hug, especially if you need one. If you need one right now, here it is. First of all, another video about Jupiter square Saturn, which is going on at the moment. But I wanted to say a big thank you to all your support. I felt it tremendously. People texted, commented, liked, even sent me personal emails with lots of tips and what they think is the best for the channel and whatnot. So I'm gonna let sink in everything. But I think it helped me. It helped me a lot to figure out what I want. And so thank you for that, for working with me. And, you see, this gives me energy. And therefore, another video. It's already the second one in a week, which I think is a lot. But hey, if it doesn't cost me energy, why not? On the contrary, it gives me energy. But anyway, I think Jupiter square Saturn. So I'm going to explain what it is. And also because, so I'm going to put it in the playlist of the planets. So if you are an astrology student, so to speak, there is plenty of information around the planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, whatnot, and you can find it on my playlist. So you will find this video as well. And if you want to know a bit more about Saturn, for instance, you click on the playlist of Saturn and you will see a whole bunch of videos. And my purpose is to let that grow as well. Anyway, I'm going to explain Jupiter square Saturn. Why? Because it's happening. It's happening, and actually, it's a dominating energy for the whole of 2024. And it's very contradictory energies, very contradictory ingredients, so to speak. So I'm going to explain what the energy is, and then also for the 12 signs, because we're feeling it the whole year. Now, I say we're feeling it the whole year, Jupiter is in Gemini, Saturn is in Pisces. So in astrology, it is what forms a square. We call that a square. And a square, I know that a lot of people think like, oh, that is problematic. It's about accepting that there is a bit of a paradox going on, but it's necessary because these two energies, you need to apply them at the same time. It's nothing more and nothing less. Yes, I'm a positive astrologer, of course. That's why my life, when things happen, even if if my ego doesn't like it, I just kind of transform it to my way. And I think that's my way of living. You don't have to do that way of living as well, but it works for me. So it's definitely a way to accept things easier and to know, of course, that there is a bigger picture, whether it is your higher self telling it to you, the universe, God, Allah, whatever. Because it's a language of the heavens, right? Now, so this Jupiter just entered Gemini, and it's at the very early degrees, 2 degrees, something like that. Of Gemini, and Saturn is already in the midst, you could say, of Pisces, around 17 degrees, 18 degrees. So what is happening, because Jupiter is faster than Saturn, Jupiter is coming up to a square to Saturn. And when it's going to do that, it's going to be at 17 degrees. So Jupiter is going to be at 17 degrees, squaring Saturn at 17 degrees of Pisces. The first square, that we're going to have 2 of them, that are the peaks. So put it in your agenda. The first square that we're going to feel very hard, this energy, is between the 19th and the 20th of August. And then the second square, Christmas, 25th of December, and that's going to be at 14 degrees. So Jupiter will be at 14 degrees, and then Saturn will be at 14 degrees of Pisces. You could say, how is that going? Because, planets do seem to go backwards and forwards. So these are the peaks. So we're now going towards the peak of August, where Jupiter is going to square Saturn. So we're going to feel it as we proceed in time. That's why I make this video, so that you can take the best of it. We're having a preview of this energy. Why? Because we're having a new moon squaring up to Saturn. So not Jupiter squaring up to Saturn, but as I speak today, I'm recording this on the new moon of the sun and the moon together in Gemini. I made that video a couple of weeks ago. So if you want to know more about it, I'll put it in the link at the end of the video. It was at 16 degrees. So the sun and the moon and Venus, 16 degrees today, squaring up to Saturn. Ideal time to talk about this, because everyone is going to feel that energy. So it's like a kickoff. The kickoff is today, the 6th of June. The kickoff is today of what I'm going to explain. So what is this all about? This Jupiter square Saturn. First of all, the square is tension. Absolutely. So we know, it's gonna, we know that we have to do effort. It's nothing more and nothing less, right? Trines, they seem to be like things, we are lucky. People usually say that, they're lucky. They're finding a good relationship, a good man, a good woman, they're lucky. Or, they're having this job and they're having this success, they're lucky. That is with trines. With squares, people can still say that you are lucky, but people will also see that you had to do some effort there. And with effort, I mean looking within. So, because it's pressure, when you're getting pressure, you will feel resistance. So if you are watching this video now, you feel a lot of resistance in a particular part of your life, very good. I know, it sounds weird. Very good. Keep on going. Keep on going. Because when people feel these squares, that the tension, they run away from it. No. It's actually being with the tension is the best, because then you go through it easier. And then you're going to have the rewards of who? Of the planet that is the furthest away. In this case, it's Saturn. So first you've got Jupiter, and that's the faster planet. And then you've got Saturn, right? Excuse me. So Jupiter square Saturn. A lot of restrictions. Look, I'm not acting. This is a lot of, we seem to see as restrictions, which is Saturn, but it's the Lord of Karma, right? And it's also the timing and the divine timing. So we are going to have an opportunity in our life to have both planets at the same time. So what does it mean? We have an opportunity to really expand, to find purpose, which is Jupiter, what I'm saying now. To grow in what kind of area? Well, is Gemini related. So it's about connecting in an airway, which is communicating, talking, media, knowledge, but it's more like knowledge here and there. It's not like one subject and that's it. No, it's knowledge here and there. It's traveling, short trips. It's speaking your truth, receiving information, how you're going to do that, the way that you think in a day-to-day basis. So all of these things are about to explore, expand, grow tremendously. So that is the house that I'm going to speak about. When you're in Gemini, this is in your first house. This is about you. You are growing, expanding, and so on. When you are Sagittarian, it's in your 7th house. So you are growing with your relationships. But anyway, so there is growth. Absolutely. Sometimes, an astrologer, when I have a reading and a person is asking for growth in a particular area and you don't see it, Doesn't mean to say that it's not going to come, but not this year, for instance. And there is energy to focus on other things. That's how it is. We are a part of nature. We are a part of the divine. And if we go, we can decide what we're going to do with the astrology. We can decide like, hey, I'm not going to take what she's saying, and then you're resisting nature, but hey, you can do that. You can do that. Good luck. But you can also go with nature, which is easier. But anyway, it took me a long time to understand that. But anyway, so Jupiter expansion. At the same time, whilst this expansion is going on, we're going to feel Saturn. We're going to feel Saturn like maybe you have a growth for your business, and Saturn is saying, do you have the skills? Are you competent enough? Maybe Jupiter in the 5th house, you are expanding when it comes to your creativity, and you go out there and you spend a lot of money, right? I mean, Saturn could be saying, what about your expenses? Or it's going to show you in your life that the money isn't there anymore, for instance, you know, a block of money flow. For instance, I'm just giving here not stupid, but very simple examples to let you know that on the one hand, it's like the universe is giving you a lot, and then on the other hand, not so easy. You know, it's like a child who would take everything, and then the universe or your higher self or Allah or God, whatever you want to call it, is saying, slow down. Oh, you have to work for it. You have to be disciplined. You have to be real. You have to be realistic, which is actually, so those two energies, and that square is not a bad thing. It's a very realistic thing. Isn't it the truth that we have often with growth, that we are bumping into our restrictions, which is normal? We are bumping in, and it can be on the inner level that we are holding back ourselves. It can be in the outer level, but mostly it comes from within anyways. But so that's the energy. Yes, what is the answer? Are you going to grow this year? Absolutely. But how to do it is to do it slow, is to do it by the book. In other words, not in shortcuts, doing step by step. So for instance, if you want to learn a language, let's say you want to have a business and you should speak Spanish for that, right? You're going to do, so Jupiter is the expansion. Then you're going to grow your business in Spain or in other Spanish-speaking countries. Oh, it's going to be tremendously opening up your business, for instance. But Saturn is saying, hey, you will have to take the course. You will have to, and it's an intensive course, which means like 3 times a week. You will have to go to the course. You will not only have to be present, but committed. So you can't just be there in the course and do watching your phone and whatever and doing 100 things at the same time. No, you will have to be in that course, be present, exercise, bumping into your own frustrations because it's not going fast enough or whatever. And you will have to do an exam for it, for example. So, but of course, when you all, the other side of Saturn is, if you listen to Saturn and embrace it, in other words, if you take responsibility, if you own it, if you say, yeah, I'm going to commit myself. If I have to go 3 times to class, I can't go to the football. I can't go Monday on football. I can't go Wednesday, have a drink with my friend, and so on. You will have to cancel out other stuff, unless you have a ton of freedom, right? So you will have to commit. Saturn is commitment, and Saturn rewards that. So you will have to live with the guilt as well. I know that people have a strange opinion around guilt, and I was like that as well. But guilt, to be an adult, which is Saturn is the first turn it's around 28, 29 years old. And then people start to be an adult or behaving like one. And I mean, in general here, I'm generalizing. But that is because when you are an adult, you can live with the guilt that you're going to create if you take responsibility. Let's go back to the simple example. If you have to go three times a week to class because you know that there's an expansion for you and it's for your best interest, but you will have to, first of all, say to your, the football friends that you're not going to come. So they will, depending on your relationship, of course, but they will say, hey, well, why are you not going to come? You're going to do Spanish. Why? For you, hey, be there for us. We're your buddies, and so on and so on. So you will have to live with guilt that you can't be there, and so on and so on. But that's Saturn. Living with guilt means responsibility, and that's an adult way of you making a choice and being okay with the choice and having the consequences, right? So your life is about choice. And you could say, yeah, I want a better life for my kids, for instance, because I'm financially broke all the time. But then you might be working and not being there for your kids all of the time. So you have to be, if you want to improve your life, like ones that you have money enough so that you can be with your kids even more as well, you will have to go through a period where you're going to create guilt and to be accepting and owning that guilt, right? So guilt is a very tricky thing. It's the pitfall of Saturn. So if you think, oh, I feel guilty, I'm not going to do it, I feel guilty. It's a trick. It's about you taking a choice. So the same with this Jupiter square Saturn. Saturn is gonna, in the field that I'm gonna say, in the area of life that I'm going to say for all of you for the 12 signs, you're gonna feel some guilt. And if it's not guilt, it's gonna be hard work, to say the least. So let's say it's in your third house, Saturn, you could really have to do a lot of effort to study something new, for instance. And you're gonna have resistance. With Saturn, you're gonna have resistance. I'll give you an example of myself. I'm learning now a lot of new things. I want to become more knowledgeable, and every now and then I have that. I have a full 9th house, so every now and then I feel like I need to grow in that way. But Saturn is in my 3rd house. I'm bumping into stuff that I don't want to do that, I don't want to do that. I want to be a little bit better in in technical stuff and whatnot, but I don't like it. But if I want the growth, I will have to. You see what I mean? It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. I'm having Jupiter in my 7th house, where the expansion is, where clients, people, the public, it's a bit of a public eye kind of thing, the 7th house, also the 10th house. But that growth will come, but I will have to work hard. Saturn in the 3rd, I will have to work hard on my mindset, on my, specifically what I'm thinking of, and I have to kind of be disciplined with negative thoughts, and so on and so on. You see, so I'm just giving you this very easy example of Saturn, but Saturn rewards, after this year. If you work hard on where Saturn is, you're going to be rewarded. And the reward will be the Jupiter in the house that it is in. So what I'm trying to say here, as an advice, and I know that it's hard, but the more resistance there is, the better. It means that you really need it. You really need to do it, right? Whether it is like me, the learning skills or whatever, whether it is when Saturn is in your 1st house, saying no, for instance, more than you would like, or and everything. So it is a realistic optimism that we're having here. It's realistic optimism. It's in the tarot, the Temperance card, right? And it's by doing things very consistently and very steady and taking action for sure. But to get the growth, whatever it is for you, but to do that in a very realistic way, not in a shortcut. It's not going to work now. It doesn't mean to say that at other times it have to be like that. Sometimes we have Jupiter trine Saturn. Then it means that we have growth and we have stability and so on. It goes very easily. Another thing, Jupiter square Saturn, is that one part of your life is going to expand. Another part of your life, don't dismiss it, which is the Saturn part. Keep what is working for you. Don't dismiss what is just feeling as a burden, or you have to work for it or whatever. Don't dismiss it that easily. Give it a try and keep what is going on, right? If you have a business, for instance, and you're having like 3 parts of revenues that you're getting, right? 3 different parts, and that one part is bringing you a lot of growth and whatnot. You don't have to dismiss that part, right? That's what I mean, because you have a bit of an overload. You have to dismiss maybe something else, right? Or doing other stuff with the other 2 parts. So that's what I mean by it's growth, but it's keeping what is working. It's time sharing for sure. So keep doing what you're doing, what is good, what you're doing good. So don't throw away what is going well in your life because it demands discipline. Just keep what is growing and what is good for you and what is realistic, but meanwhile expand. Another way to explain this is that, but let's say, for instance, you're at a job and you want to work for yourself. If someone comes and there's a Jupiter square Saturn going on, I will definitely not say to you, skip everything, skip the old job and go to the new. I would say, as an advice, they have to take it or leave it, but according to the astrology, look out for another job or already do it, but in a part-time way, and also in a part-time way, diminish the job that you're doing now. And that is like a transition time. So that's the energy that we are in. It's stability and it's keep what is old, but what is working. And it's also growth. So it's the swing between that optimism of Jupiter and the pessimism of Saturn. So you're going to have days with this energy. One week, you're seeing your future. You're saying, yes, I go there. And then the other week, it's like more Saturn. You're going to say, what have I started? I can't do this. I really can't do this. You see? And the trick is to keep on going and to keep on time sharing between Jupiter and Saturn. So don't do too much Jupiter without the Saturn, and don't do too much Saturn without the Jupiter. That's basically it. It's about balance, what I'm saying here. And that's always with squares. It's to find that balance. So, good for tackling addictions as well. Why am I saying this? Because in the comments of the other video, there was like a question of when is it a good time to start or to stop with not to start. Oh my goodness, what am I saying? To stop with the addiction, whatever it is. Well, this is a good time, right? I mean, it's, in my opinion, always a good time, and every day is a day. But anyway, if you really want to have the nature with you, Jupiter square Saturn, why is it good? Because you're going for your growth in a positive way, but you will have to work for it. It's Saturn is like you will have to deal with that discipline and restrictions, but actually you're growing whilst you are doing that. So you feel like you're in pain or suffering because you can't do this anymore or that, or you haven't got your kicks anymore or whatever it is for you, but you're growing. You see? Very good question, by the way. So let's go to the 12 signs. I think it's a tremendous opportunity, Jupiter square Saturn. It's a specific way of growth. Of course, everyone wants to grow, right? But we see in life that growth, and very expansive growth, mostly happens with hard work and with, again, it doesn't always have to be like that. You know, I'm not saying here that your belief system should be you can only get rich when you work hard. No. But now we are at that period of time. Now we're having Jupiter square Saturn. So if you want to grow now, work hard. Again, I'm not saying that always. It's not a belief system of me for like, you have to really, punish yourself and then you're growing. I have another belief system, which is follow your passion, do your passion, and the rest will follow. But now, specifically, it's about that hard work and, sitting with the resistance and the frustration. Welcome back, in a bit of a different scenery here, but bear with me, because I was completely wrong. I was already at the 7th sign or 8th sign, I think, and I was just mixing up houses. but hopefully as well, I have been able to knit these two videos together. I was talking about in the beginning that I have to do a little bit more work when it comes to editing. I never do that. I just shoot and that's it. So I hope I figured it out. If not, these are going to be 2 videos and I still have to learn. But let's do the 12 signs here. So for Aries, this expansion is in your 3rd house and it's squaring up to Saturn in your 12th. So here, and I'm going to put this here. There you go. So the expansion is in your 3rd house. So if you have your business, your own business, this is definitely expansion in the area of PR, in the area of social media, connecting, more websites, whatever it is. This is growth for sure. This can also be a huge growth in an understanding of different things, of skills, you learning new things, you learning a skill, whether it is driving, whether it is doing something that you've never done before. But a lot of learning or teaching is possible as well. An improvement or an abundance when it comes to connections with siblings, with neighbors. But definitely when it comes to your mind, your day-to-day mind is very positive and optimistic. Squaring up to Saturn in the 12th house, so where you have that work to do, so to speak, is in the unconscious. I mean, Saturn in the 12th is in its joy, and according to ancient astrology, and that means that it's structuring the things that the patterns that you're having that you did not know. This is a very good time to battle addictions, whatever they are. And when you do so, you're going to even become more expansive in that 3rd house. So it's about, tackling very structured and disciplines, the ways that you do in your life to escape, basically, in an unhealthy way. And to do it a bit more healthy and to get more structure there. So definitely for you, Aries people, if there's an addiction, whether it is love addiction, whether it is smoking, whatever it is for you, it's a good time to see it in the face and doing little steps to tackle that. Taurians, this expansion is happening in your 2nd house. So the 2nd house is your house. It's your Taurian house. Jupiter there in Gemini growing, it is 2 meanings, you could say, 2 big chunks. First of all, your confidence. Your confidence is growing, and that comes from the self. So I'm not talking about other people say to you, oh, you're doing that well, or this or that. No, the confidence comes from within. And that's a beautiful thing. And that is because you're owning it, you're seeing the growth there of your talents and of who you are. And the acceptance and the confidence, maybe you have recently established more competences around a certain subject, and that gives you more confidence. Or it is through a connection, a relationship, whatever it is that you feel that you're growing. Another level, it's a financial house as well. So your financial your finances, they have an opportunity to grow expansively. Now, what is holding you back is Saturn not holding you back, but what is the work to be done, so to speak, is Saturn in the 11th house. Now, the 11th house is the goals that you set in your life. Goals and friends. So let's start with goals. So it could mean that you used to have 3 goals and now you have to downsize to 1 goal. So be aware that certain goals, if you can't reach them, that's okay. And that's actually less is more. It could also mean that 1 goal you're working in particular towards. That's also a good thing. Now, in friends, it could mean that you're downsizing because you might have many friends and you understand now that it's better to invest in maybe 1 or 2 or 3 friends that that you are growing with, that might be a bit critical towards you and test you even. But that's a good thing. The ones that you feel, yeah, I like them, but they test me, keep them, because they are going to be important for that growth of your confidence. And they are your teachers now. And probably the one that you fear the most is the best one, because they can teach you around, as I said, your confidence and in owning your own life and your own values and ownership of your life. So interesting. Geminis, of course, this is your first house. The whole intro was for you. You are expanding. There is flourishment possible. There is growth possible. You name it. But the square is to the 10th house. And the Saturn there, which is the testing times, is the 10th house. For many, it is work. For others, it is the mother figure and or the public eye. So it could mean that you feel a bit more the burden of a job or a work. Or it's the typical thing that I see with people who want to expand and start their own business, for instance, but are still in a company that they have to work hard for, right? So here it would be like downsize a little bit, maybe a 20% of that company and invest that in yourself and do it gradually, slowly but surely, right? Because you need both of them at the moment still. Now, that's it. That's a bit of the biggest thing. Another thing could mean that a parent, I say a parent because the 10th sometimes is represented by father and sometimes by mother. It is a bit, controversial that because, but whatever reason, there could be a parent that you feel a bit of a Saturnal energy towards. And with Saturnal, I mean that is giving you a bit of a hard time to connect with. So work on that inner connection towards it. It's going to be a little bit harsher and more difficult and challenging to do so, but that's exactly what I mean by the work. And that's going to give you a better possibility to expand and to do whatever you want to do. And to because you're going to feel quite optimistic. There's a side of you that's very optimistic about yourself, but there's still someone holding you back. And that is because you kind of feel responsible for a parent, or you kind of feel that a part of you is not allowing you to grow. So, Cancerians, this expansion is happening in your 12th house, and the Saturn is in the 9th. So, what is the 12th house? It's a spiritual house. So here again, it's an opportunity. You don't have to do it, but the 12th house is a possibility to expand on your spirituality, on the deeper meaning of life, on your connection with, call it the universe, call it nature, call it God if you like, whatever it is, but something that is bigger than you because you're a part of everything. That is that 12th house. and it's the unseen world. And there is an expansiveness here and a growth of that unseen world and of you finding meaning there. Maybe it's the beginning of your spiritual journey here. Maybe it's the beginning of trying to understand more and giving more purpose to spirituality. And that's going to be your gift, because it's going to give you purpose in a way. And also it's going to give you the green light to see your blind spots and deal with them in a new way, in a more positive way. Now, what is squaring up to it is Saturn in the 9th house, which is your belief system. So what holds you back is yourself. I mean, in the mind is your belief system. Maybe you're saying, spirituality, that's maybe you're a very rational person and you're saying that's nothing for me, but you kind of feel that there's a solution in it as well. Or it could be the other way around. Maybe you're very, very spiritual, but you have a mindset that, work and money is not important. And maybe that is shifting. So it depends on your personal story, but whatever it is, it's important to be disciplined in your mind and to, but not in a negative way, being very rigid to a certain, that is what I believe, and I'm not going to look everywhere else. So it's about working on that belief system that is realistic for you. Leos, the 11th house, there is an expansion possible for you when it comes to your goals, whether it comes, and for you, you may say to yourself, look, I have not one goal, but 5. It's okay to say so. And also friends, there could be an expansion, there could be a growth of friends, a growth of a group of people that you belong to, maybe social media. If you have your own business, Jupiter in the 11th is amazing because it's growing of a financial house, which is the 2nd house of your 10th house, which is money. Could mean that one friend can really become very purposeful for you, a bit of a mentor for you. You could fall for a friend, for instance, if you're single, or if you're having a friend that could become a little bit more than that and very important for you. Now, so a lot of growth there in your connections, in those like-minded people kind of connections. What is squaring up to it is Saturn in the 8th house. So Saturn in the 8th house is a house of intimacy. It's the house of vulnerability. It's a house of your fears. And Saturn going through it is like, it might even heighten those fears in the beginning. But it's not there to annoy you. It's there to welcome it and to work through it. So it could also mean that you're having a goal, the 11th house, and that to reach that whole goal, you're very optimistic and you need a loan, for instance. And then the bank is saying no. That's Saturn in the 8th. The bank is saying no, can't give you this. We can give you this, and you will have to work with that. And so it's about understanding that it is the best for you in this gradual way of growth. So specifically, it's quite a lot of investment maybe, or you're trying to grow, or you're trying to grow your company or an association, and you're trying to get money there. You have to watch out and allow or accept what you're going to be given or not being given, and working from there. On another level, it's intimacy with people that you might feel a little bit more vulnerable, that because you're expanding friends and whatnot, but they're coming very close, and it's that feeling. Virgos, very important for the Virgos, together with the Geminis and with the Pisceans. They are a mutable sign. Also the Sagittarians. So all this growth is possible in the 10th house. I definitely, as a Virgo myself, I sense this square very, very easily. Very easy to explain, but I sense this square very much. So there's definitely an opportunity for growth, for your work, your expansion of your career. If you're not having a career, expansion of how the public receives you, how you are seen. Also, when it comes to parents, there could be a breakthrough, there could be an improvement, a possibility of growth, of having a better connection with parents. Whether they live or not, it's how the inner way of how you look at your parents. So all of this is up to expansion for sure, for sure. Now, Saturn, the hard work, is the 7th house. So the 7th house, when you are in a relationship, for instance, this could be your partner, your spouse, girlfriend, boyfriend, but also business partner. And they can be the critic. They could say, yeah, but if you're going to expand, you will have to work harder, for instance. And so don't see this as negative, right? Accept this, that, that they have this, that they're not on the growth 100%, but it's for a reason. So be realistic in that. Try to convince them in a way that feels your truth, but don't try to make them different, right? Say your truth. Don't try to convince them, actually, but just say your truth and why you're doing it and whatever. So it could mean that you feel like another person is restricting you. But of course, that's you, right? It's you're projecting it, you're mirroring it. And there could be some fears that the partner is feeling whilst you are just growing out there. And you have to just respect that, right? Instead of just, you're not good for me because you don't want anything for me, I cut it off. No, they might be very valuable for you. You see, that's the Saturn-Jupiter square. On another level, there could be a business partner that you're working with, or you want to work with a business partner. And there's some fears involved here. And there's also, maybe they are criticizing you all of the time, or vice versa. Or maybe you do want a business partner, but you're a bit fearful of, and just examine that fear. Examine that fear, work with it. Where is it coming from? Is it realistic or is it not? It's probably a bit realistic, but you can't exaggerate with the fear. It's probably something like that. Now, on another level, if you're single, for instance, it could mean that someone comes in and that is very Saturnial. So that is going to be quite serious and going to be quite responsible, and a bit of a test of what do I bring to the table? What are they bringing to the table? So it's certainly for a single Virgo important to make that calculation, like a true Virgo. What do I bring to the table? What do they bring to the table? If you expect a six-pack sitting in front of you whilst you are dating, because you are expanding and your business is growing and whatever, now you might start thinking like, how do I look, right? And maybe you're 20 pounds overweight, and then you know what to do, right? Instead of working on you, and so that you come towards what you want in your outer world. Anyways, it's a very interesting aspect for those Virgos of you, especially those Virgos who's got planet around, you could say, 13 up until 20 degrees of Virgo. They will feel it the most. Librans, 9th house, fantastic. Librans, it's very nice energy. All that Gemini energy trines your energy. The 9th house is a house of optimism and expansion, and you understanding the world in a bigger way because you travel, or because you're reading books, because you are watching videos like this. You feel the growth of knowledge. You feel more connected with the divine. You feel more connected to your higher self. So you could travel more, or there's plans that you want to take, like more traveling, more teaching, more learning. You want to learn more, you want to teach more, and so on. Now, Saturn is in your 6th house. So what could be saying like, is your health and is your work. So maybe you're traveling all over the world and you're not sleeping. Then Saturn is knocking on the door and reminding you that you've got a body, right? That's Saturn in the 6th. Saturn in the 6th is also your work, your day-to-day routines. It means that they need to be very consistent. I have that natally, Saturn in the 6th, and it's really about when you're not doing the routines and the discipline, it's not good for your health. It's not good for your mental health. It's not good for your physical health. So whilst you are having those dreams and expansion and it's coming, but you will have to take care of your health and you will have to take care of your work as well. Your responsibilities there. You cannot run away from your responsibilities at work, that is. Scorpios, this expansion, Jupiter in the 8th house is happening in your Scorpionic house in the 8th house. And there's a dove right there. Wow. This is, the 8th house is a house of life and death. So there's definitely you connecting with people who are not here anymore, loved ones, for sure, an ability for that. I never mention that in my readings, but that bird over there, that huge, well, I'm not having my lenses in, but I see a huge bird and I think it's a dove. But anyway, beautiful message, whatever it is. Jupiter in the 8th is indeed having a lot of purpose in the themes of life and death, having a lot of knowledge or expansiveness of knowledge of the occult, whether it is astrology, tarot, occult knowledge that is hidden. There can be an expansiveness as well. That's more of a financial area topic in your money that you share with someone else. So there could be growth of the income of your spouse, for instance, or just you attracting more money from tax returns, inheritances, other people giving it to you, and so on. This is all available for you, and this is an opportunity. What is the work is Saturn in the 5th. So Saturn in the 5th is about, you could say, the 5th house is the house of the heart. So, and Saturn is be mature there. Be mature, right? It could mean, for instance, like a child, if you have children or you want to have children, but it's not the easiest, right? Or it's coming slow, or it's a process. Stick to that process, of course, if you can and if you feel like it. Saturn could also mean that your relationship with children, it's a bit more demanding. They need a little bit more boundaries, or they need you to be a little bit more strict and disciplined in a certain way. It can also mean that your child takes on more responsibilities, that as well, depending a bit on the age. Now, it also means that hobbies, creations, like a project or a business that you want to start, this could be for a lot of you. Let's say Jupiter in the 8th, you get the money to start a business, to launch a business. Be very careful here with your expenses. Be careful with risk-taking. I would not recommend huge risk-taking with Saturn in the 5th house, because it's the house of risk-taking. Okay? So I would just also, what it could mean in a relationship kind of level, you meet someone and it's like, you feel intimate. I mean, not only sexually, but I mean, they see me, right? It's being vulnerable, but you just are careful with your heart still in some kind of way. You're still a bit careful there, and it's for a reason. So explore that. It's a very interesting aspect there. Sagittarians, very important. You're a mutable sign. together with the Geminis and with the Pisces and with the Virgo. So for you, super important, especially if you've got planets between 13 and 20 degrees of Sagittarius. What an expansion this is for you. And why? Because Jupiter rules you. So you are Jupiter. You are that expansion. And it's in the 7th house. It's coming through other people. Other people are good for you, mentoring you. A lot of mentors can appear. A lot of expansion of clients, of growth of clients can happen. A lot of growth of maybe you're single and for many, many years, and now all of a sudden 3 people are knocking at your door. And it's like, huh? So expansiveness in attracting others because you are interested in them and you want to work with them and you want to do that because it's a good thing. Now, whereas Saturn is in your 4th house. So the 4th house is the emotions. It's also literally your home. So emotionally, you could really want to reach out to all these other people, but emotionally not be fully ready to, because you feel a little bit of fear there. There could be a fear of emotionally not being strong enough, or there could be a fear of emotionally, because of that expansion going on, containing all of that. It sounds a bit weird, but that's how I'm reading these combinations. Now, on another level, it could mean that, yes, there is an expansion going on with certainly the ones who have their own business, that they could grow their business a lot. It's not just Jupiter in the 10th house, but with Jupiter in the 7th house. It's like more clients, more opportunities to work with other people, and connecting. It's fantastic. But Saturn is like, that fear of being rooted, so to speak, well enough. And that fear that comes from within. It could be literally your home, that your home is demanding some better structure, or that your home is demanding attention, that your home is, and again, although it might be felt as a burden, or a parent, it could be a parent that you need to take care of for this moment. And, it's like holding you a little bit back. But whatever it is, try to timeshare those. On another level, on a level of emotions, it could mean that you're tapping into your most inner self and restructuring and renovating almost that most inner self. It's a maturation. It's you getting more mature. It's you, and it's a beautiful thing, but that's hard work because you're doing inner work. That's always the hardest. Capricorns, your 6th house. It's, and you're like that, or most of the Capricorn, not everyone. They like work and they like to, be of service. With Jupiter in the 6th, it's definitely a possibility of growth of work, growth of being of service, more purpose, maybe, getting into a job that is more purposeful, more closer to your soul, and so on. Also growth of health, and you're finding more meaning in taking care of health, mentally and physically. All of that is very juiciful energy. Now, Saturn is in the 3rd. So the lessons are in that 3rd house. So that could, to achieve all of that, more work, better routines, better work, better health, and so on. The mindset needs to be structured here. So the mindset, Saturn in the 3rd, needs to be focused and in a positive way, because Saturn in the 3rd, normally the pitfall is being a bit negative in your thoughts. So it just can mean only that for some of you, that you need to be a bit more mindful of the thoughts you are thinking. What am I thinking? What am I saying to myself? Am I being over criticizing? Am I, or maybe siblings or neighbors could all become a little bit of a, nagging and all of it, and a bit challenging. But know that this has to do with the mindset, that this has to do with, to balance this out in order for you to be a more mature communicator, to be a more serious communicator, but in a mature way with the give and the take. So there are the lessons in the 3rd house. Now, it could also mean that you will have to travel a little bit less in when it comes to short trips, or that you have to study something. You know, you have that expansion in the sixth house. It's a really common thing that someone gets a new job and they have to learn new, maybe working with a computer, working with a system, understanding it, and it demands a lot. You're gonna bump into resistance, like, do I really have to learn this? I'm too old for this, or whatever. You see those minds, those mind patterns, that the things that you think on a daily basis. Be very, very mindful of that. Aquarians, fifth house. This is amazing. Aquarians, because you are air sign, and Gemini is also air sign. So you're having all this abundance in a fellow air sign of the fifth house. So definitely for those of you who are single, could be new love coming in, and it's big. It's big, big, big. It's from the heart. It's big, and they might be from another country or another culture, or they might be just very wise and smart and witty, because it's in Gemini. And it could also mean a child, that you're getting a child, or that your child is growing, that your child is, you see that it's growing fast and expanding, and so on. Another thing is projects and things that are important for you, that feel a bit like your child, like a project or a business. It's good to launch that. It's an important, it can be very important. And when it comes to timing, a timing where you have growth of that. It's also growth of the things that you enjoy in life. You know, having access now to more hobbies, to more sports, and you name it. But the square is to Saturn. There is the testing things, and literally Saturn is your money, your income. So it could mean that because you're doing that fifth house stuff, it costs your money. It can be as simple as that, and that you have to balance that out. Instead of saying, oh, I don't care that it costs money. Well, maybe the bank is going to call you one day. You see, it's doesn't have to go to that extreme, but it's about balancing that out. Or a hobby is, it costs too much, and you have to kind of adjust yourself here, or balance this out. Another thing could be confidence, because now you're meeting someone, for instance, your confidence is like, oh, Saturn in the second house. You have to work on that. You have to work on gaining your confidence. And Saturn in the second is definitely working hard on the confidence, and on the confidence that comes from the self. So inner work, not just wanting other people to tell you you're wonderful, but you yourself to tell you that you're wonderful. And if not, for whatever reason, working towards that. If you find yourself not wonderful because you're because you're overweight, it's a good time with Saturn in the second to work on that. Gradually, slowly but surely. Or a talent. You want to start your own business, Jupiter in the fifth, but you still need some skills, right? That's the second house. You get confidence by competence. So all of this. And last but not least, Pisceans. Pisceans, when you have balance between 13 and 20 degrees, you will feel it the most. But all Pisceans would feel this very strongly. Why? First of all, your Jupiter. Ancient astrology, Jupiter is your ruler, together with Neptune. So it's you that is looking towards Saturn in a square. So you're going to feel that a lot, that, resistance. And it's a good thing. If you're saying, yeah, I feel that. You're good because you're growing. That's actually how weird this energy is. But all this expansiveness is in your fourth house. So the fourth house is, let's start literally with your home. So you could be moving and going towards a bigger home. That's all possible now. And an opportunity for growth in your home, or you're finding more purpose at home because you're working at home, you're loving it, whatever it is, growth at home, feeling emotionally way more secure. It's all possible. What is holding you down or holding you back? Yourself. Saturn in the first house, which is fears. fears from that come from you, fears of not being good enough, fears of I won't be able to do this, whatever it is. So it's you who is holding yourself back. It's like you who is slowing yourself a little bit back. In a positive way, it's about you working on yourself, you seeing where you're lacking this or that, but or where it's not yet established, but you also understanding that you're working on it and that you're doing this in your own pace. So on a positive level as well as you setting boundaries with people. So Saturn in the first house is about you setting boundaries, and that might be a bit hard for you to do for whatever the reason is. So some of you out there, some Pisceans will have more towards leaning towards that, oh, I can't say no to others and that's a thing. Other Pisceans will have more restrictions toward themselves, that they can't give themselves the abundance because they don't feel worthy. So, and that's something that they need to work on, and that they mature up and that they see like, hey, I'm living with this guilt that, hey, if I'm better in life, maybe someone else, because they don't do the hard work, they're not going to feel better. You know, that guilt that you create when you are doing well for yourself, you know, others might not, especially the ones close to you who don't want to work on themselves, might not always love that. And it's living with that guilt who can as well be an important thing. Anyway, this was Jupiter square Saturn, and work. By the way, the Pisceans, work hard on yourself. Look within, and do it step by step. Don't rush in too much. You have time. Thank you so much for all of you watching this video. Again, thank you so much for being here. And I wish you the best Jupiter square Saturn energy of all times. Bye-bye. And another thing that I was forgetting was that I actually forgot to mention that I have a super, super interesting, abundant promotion going on now. And if you want to check that out, check out the description box. There's a link to the page, and click on the promotion service. And that promotion is all about the Jupiter square Saturn. It's about Jupiter in your chart, natally, what it means, what the purpose is. It's about the transit of Jupiter now in Gemini in your chart. And it's also about the square to it, to Saturn, and what it all means in your chart. So the whole thing applied if you want to have that reading. You can have, of course, any reading. You can look at my website and pick out the one you need, or the one that you want, or this promotion that I'm doing. Anyways, all the best to you. Bye-bye.